Reasonable force or police brutality? What force can British police officers use, and what does the law say about this? Keep watching to find out more. Hello everyone, Avian Solar here. So, during my time as a police officer, I had to use force on several occasions, and it's one of those topics that keeps coming up in the media. So today we're going to talk about it and the legislation surrounding police use of force. So let's start by having a look at what actually is a use of force. Well, put it simply, a use of force can be many things, but any time an officer has to actually lay hands on someone, it can be considered a use of force, such as a constable grabbing someone to restrain them, using the handcuffs, an officer making diversionary strikes, using their cosh or pava spray, tasing, and ultimately, use of a police firearm is also considered a use of force. So with this in mind, when are the police actually allowed to use force? Well, with most things in policing, there's an acronym for this, and it says that police are allowed to use force as long as it conforms to P.L.A.N, which means proportionate, legal, accountable, and necessary. So what do we mean by proportionate? Well, the force used by an officer must be proportionate to the threat that's faced. For example, if someone is screaming and shouting in the street, it would be completely out of proportion for an armed officer to attend the situation and conduct a firearms challenge. However, if that person was screaming and shouting and, let's say, had a knife on them, it would not be out of proportion for an officer to attend and challenge them with a taser. So legal. As with most things, there's quite a bit of legislation underpinning police use of force. However, I'm going to cover the four main ones here. Common law, more specifically the law of self-defence, allows any person to use such force that is reasonable to protect themselves, protect others, and protect their property. Section 3 of the Criminal Law Act allows officers to use reasonable force to prevent crime, effect the lawful arrest of a suspect, or a person unlawfully at large. Section 117 of the Police and Criminal Evidence Act allows an officer to use reasonable force when exercising any of their powers under the Police and Criminal Evidence Act. And Article 3 of the Human Rights Act is there to protect people from the protection of torture, degrading and inhumane punishments, and should always be considered when a police officer is using force. On the subject of reasonable force, if you are liking this video, I don't think it'd be out of proportion for you to give that like and subscribe button a little whack. Now, accountable. All officers are held individually accountable for the force they use, and they have to be able to justify when they've used force. To assist with this, they'll often make notes in their pocket notebook, noting when they've used force and the reasons why, and forcers also collect information about the force their officers use. Necessary. Now, all force used must be necessary, and if there are other options, such as tactical communications, these should be attempted first. However, it's a very situational thing. An officer needs to be able to justify why it was necessary to use force. So there we are. Now you know about P.L.A.N, the legislation behind police use of force, as well as what's required for a police officer to use force. If you enjoyed this video, and if you do enjoy my content, please do consider liking and subscribing. And if you want to watch more, just have a look at my channel. I've got a playlist about these UK policing powers. I hope you have a very nice day.